Now, for our relationship segment today, we're going to talk about boundaries. How important are they to the success of our relationship? And we have with us Mrs. Marie-Rose Sackey. She's an entrepreneur and a counselor, and every time she's here, we walk away with things that we can use to better our relationship. Throughout our conversation with her, if you want to join the conversation, use the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550-585832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
How we dragged you here. I hope the ride was not too bad.
Oh, no. It's fine. Yesterday evening it was really bad. I spent about 2 hours in traffic. It wasn't but this morning was like it's a short, yeah.
Now, boundaries. How important are they to the success of our relationship? How do we even define boundaries within the context of a relationship?
Yes, talking about boundaries, basically we're looking at limitations, or drawing a line in relationship, how far you can go. Because we're in a relationship doesn't mean that you can go to, infinity, no. To everything. I always say that they say that in life there are always checks and balances. When you study government, they tell you that sociology and all the political science, you see all those things, checks and boundaries. So there's always the need for one to have some checks in life, because if they allowed us to do things anyhow according to what we felt without any limitations or drawing a line for us, human as we are, we could go overboard. Yeah. So even in relationship, no matter who you are in a relationship with, no matter how much you love the person, there's still the need for a boundary. There's still a need for limitation. So that's basically what I would say, that it's important in a relationship. It's not because, we are so much in love with ourselves or we are so fond of ourselves, so we open it up. And some of the boundaries we can talk about, there's so many boundaries, but some of the boundaries you can talk about could be from family, sexual, how far you can go with communication even, finances.
So we'll get into the details of it, but how do you even start the conversation around boundaries, and what stage of the relationship should both partners have that conversation?
Well, when you are in a relationship, definitely the relationship doesn't start in a day. Yeah. You get to know somebody, you start acquainting with a person, and acquaintance would grow from one level to the other. So gradually, as you are growing the relationship, you set the boundaries relating to the level of relationship in which you are. So you can have boundaries even in ordinary friendship, and it's also a relationship. Okay. Not relationship, the love relationship.
It's not
but
sexual.
Ordinary,
but it's still very intimate.
A cordial relationship. You can set boundaries there as to what you can do, what you cannot do, what I expect from my friend, what I don't expect you to do. Okay. And once again, this one too is from the viewpoint of the person setting it, because or a subjective matter. Because I might want to give you a wider space to operate. You might want to give me a smaller space too. And it tends to become a problem in relationships, because I can have a big heart and I can allow you to do so many things and I can contain. And you give me smaller space. It can even be a point of conflict.
Yes, how important is empathy when you're having that conversation? Because let's say I'm one who does not care if my partner has like 500,000 female friends. So I assume that he also wouldn't care if I have 500,000 male friends. So he sees me with a lot of my male friends and he has a problem with it, and I say, but you hang out with girls and I don't care.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that when it comes to that subject of boundary, it's subjective. And so we have to always learn we learn as we go. As we relate to people, because all of a sudden we've met, we like ourselves, we want to go on to another level, and you have a certain character. We don't come from the same background. Your background is different, my background is different, and we have to learn to coexist, exactly. So in doing so, it will take time for me to know who you are, for me to understand some of your actions and you to understand me and understand some of my actions. You have a big heart. I don't have a big heart. It doesn't change in a day because character is formed over a long period and it takes a while to balance it out. So once you get to know that your partner or your friend likes, is a kind of a sanguine kind of a person, happy-go-lucky and likes a lot of people, very sociable person, and you are not. You have to learn to accept him as who he is, with the boundaries in place. You can have all these friends, but probably you can't be chatting with them on the phone all the time. 7 o'clock is your boundary. After 7, no calls from any female friend. Or maybe when you close from work and you get home, no calls from your female friends. I might know all your female friends, but I don't want interference. 9, 10, they're calling you. No, I don't want that. So
what are some healthy boundaries we can set in relationships?
Yes. So the healthy boundaries you can set in relationship, like I said, let's talk about finances. Because now a lot of young people are going beyond what is expected. Once you're in a relationship, they see the relationship like marriage. And then they do things that is supposed to be done in marriage. That is a line. You have to draw a line between your ordinary relationship from marriage, where responsibilities are higher. People enter into relationship and they expect immediately for the man to take care of all their needs, pay their fees, give them chop money. They go there to cook. If the person is living on his own, they'll go cook, wash, and all that. Those things has to be limited. You have to talk about it, how far you can go. I will not cook for you if we are not, married. Yes, those are some of the healthy relationships healthy boundaries that can help relationship. We are not going to have sex until we marry. Maybe we can hug or something like that. But you have to make sure that whatever that you are setting in place is agreeable between the two of you. You have to agree and respect it. Just last weekend we were talking, somebody brought up an issue where he had a relationship, but the lady, they decided, they had even set a boundary that they were not going to get intimate before marriage. But somehow they found themselves doing that. Why? Because sometimes he allowed the lady to come and sleep in his house. And whenever she went there to sleep, then they did it. So you have to set boundaries in you don't even spend nights in my house. It's a healthy boundary, which will help both of you. And now the guy had gotten to the stage, he's like, I don't know, he's tired of her. Because every time she comes there, she wants them to do something,
So how important is accountability in all of this? Because I have a friend called Evelyn, and she sent me a message that she's always tempted. She can't control herself. Her boyfriend is the one who's always like, Evelyn, we need to wait till we are married. We have to wait till we are married. And she's always, tempted. So in a situation like that, how important is it for the man to be the accountability partner to say, Evelyn, I know that this is your weakness. You don't know how to, as our fathers would say, shawakono, so she doesn't know how to control that urge. How important is it for him to be her accountability partner and for her to also be his accountability partner with the things that he may struggle to keep within those boundaries?
Yes, some of the boundaries, I think some of the boundaries, both of you are going to be accountable to yourselves. Like a friend would say that, in relationship, when it comes to our emotions, sometimes one is strong, the other is weak. That's what the Bible says, two are better than one. So that one is weak, the other one will help, one will help the other to stand. So the two of you can't be weak at the same time. One will definitely be stronger. So when you know that you have this boundary and your accountability is to each other, the one who is stronger, you don't blame. I don't think you have to play any blame game, but you have to be strong and don't say that, oh, because she's vulnerable, I'll take advantage of it. Then you are not being a sincere partner or whatever, but rather continue to say no and make sure that you put yourself in the right places. If you have to go out of the house, go out of the house, because if you are staying all by yourself all the time in the house, that's where you get tempted. Go out. Or sometimes you can have a very good friend that you can be an outsider or an elderly person that you'll be accountable to.
Okay.
So in that case, it will kind of control you and help you enforce your boundaries.
So if you have like a counselor, for example, that person will be the accountability.
Yes. So from time to time, you would have to answer to the person or whatever. Maybe not like a formal or official kind of situation, but informally. Because you visit the person, you talk and all that, so you know that when you go, they could ask you, or the person, when the person sees you, they could ask you certain questions. So you make sure that you keep yourself in that boundary area. Sex is a big issue when it comes to certain boundaries.
Okay.
You know, sex is very critical, and many times people will do it, and how can you see on somebody's face that the person is going to have sex? You can't see it. You know. So it's very, very critical, but many times people set boundaries and still break it. But I think that you have to have that inner strength, you know, and understand in this way that, oh, when you are weak, that doesn't mean the other one too has to be weak. When you are weak and the other one is strong, you help yourselves. Set the boundaries. Don't get into the business of, you know, engaging too much in sex, because it takes away the beauty of entering into marriage. You would have consumed all the excitement of marriage, and you enter the marriage, the man starts looking out because he's already tired of you. So we should look at what is to our benefit, you know. Don't go expecting the man to give you so much. Give me money for this, give me money. Once he is paying so much for you, he thinks he has to get something in back. You know, he thinks he's responsible for you. So why not? So when we set boundaries, we should stick to it, especially finance and sex. And the third one, which is very notorious, is family. How far can you go into the family of the other one? You know, you have to set those boundaries.
But how do you do that? Let's say I married into a family where everybody's open. So weekends, they all come over to the husband's house. He's been like that his entire life. Whereas I've just been a solo person living on my own, very independent. I can now tell him to change the way he is with his family, and he also can't expect me to all of a sudden accommodate having his family over all the time. How do you meet each other halfway?
Well, we all know that even at weddings or at marriage ceremonies, they will advise them, everybody leave them alone. You know, so your welcome is to a point. So if he was doing it before you married, now they should understand that you are too. So you will need time for yourselves too. Unless the family, they are your friends, and when they come, you enjoy them too. But if you need time for yourself, I think you have to talk about it and decide that maybe if they were coming once every month, now we can do it once every 2 months or whatever, so that you can have that space. And of course, even in conversation, you should always, no matter how close or free you are with your in-laws or whatever, you should know where your limits are. It is not don't meddle in their private business affair. You might have a family picnic or whatever, but there's some things when they're talking about, you have to advise yourself that I shouldn't go there, because when they do it to you, you might not like it. What you don't like, make sure that you don't do it to them, so that they don't, you know, don't get yourself into that situation. How
important is it to start setting these boundaries while you guys are courting? Because sometimes some partners feel like they've been deceived. So you marry this girl who accommodates everything from you, your family, does not complain, does not set any boundaries, it's a free-for-all affair. So that reason, the man says, okay, I can get away with a lot with this lady, let me marry her. And then right after the wedding, she starts setting all these boundaries that he's not used to her setting, and then he feels like he's been tricked into the relationship, or vice versa. The man accommodates all her flaws, all her problems. They marry, and he now wants to set the boundaries.
I'm laughing because I don't think it's 100% possible for anybody to accept all your flaws. We are humans. There's always a window, you know, and we never really know ourselves, because we are evolving. We are human beings, but we change. We are very dynamic people. So somebody might be like this when I met you, have a certain character, but gradually, as you enter into a relationship or get into marriage, the person might change due to where he works, or change in environment, or change in friendship, or change in monetary or status in life and all that. People change. So you have to open your mind. Because people change, that's the reason why even when you set boundaries, you don't set boundaries for life.
Okay.
You set boundaries, I told you, as the levels where you are. So as you are growing, you set the boundary that is good enough to take care of you for that time. And that's for a lot of people think that, oh, when I say I love you once to my partner, that is it. But I told you I love you. Why do you want me to tell you all the time? Yes, you have to tell me all the time to renew your vow, to renew your commitment, you know. So in much the same way, you have to talk about it. Now, especially like we can have digital or all these social media limitations. You know, people over here, maybe we don't use it that much, but I know outside people can even locate you wherever that you are and know what you are doing, and it can bring a lot of frustrations. So you can talk, you have to, but setting the boundary is not like you are setting, it's like terrorizing the person or threatening the person or controlling the person.
What are the limits
you have to do
we should set to the boundaries as well?
You have to do it in love. You have to do it for the two of you to agree.
So how do you do it in a way that the person won't feel like you are controlling them? Because a lot of women I know, for instance, they've been independent their whole lives. They've been with partners who understand that sometimes I need my space, I need to hang out with my girls. Then you end up with this guy who wants to control everything you do. Even if those boundaries are good for the relationship, you may interpret it as he's trying to control me.
Yeah, I would say that then it means that whatever that he's doing might not have been communicated.
Okay.
Because if you set boundary and you don't communicate it to your partner, the person could take it as an offense or being controlling or whatever. But if you communicate it first, that I think that I have observed this, so let's do this. It will help us.
Okay.
You see you are married. When you started, you didn't know how things were going to go, and all of a sudden you find yourself, you got a new job, your husband got a very, very busy schedule, you don't have time. You have to set boundaries that at a certain time, instead of closing and going to have some time with your friends, you have to come back home straight because we don't have enough time. We have to discuss it. And some of the boundaries are not even communicated. Some things are not communicated directly. You know, others you have to do formal sitting down or lying in your bed as a couple. You'll be talking about it. The things that are helping you, the ones that are not helping you, then you draw the line. So when you get to that point, there are things that when you do, you realize that listen, whenever I do it, the one that you don't communicate, whenever I do that, I see my partner change. They might not even be conscious about it, but you see that the person doesn't like it. Boundaries are basically also part of what we like and what we don't like. So letting your partner know how far I can take this. Don't pick my phone when it calls, even if I'm not there. Just let it ring to the end. It's a boundary. Yeah. Respect it, you know. But sometimes this phone issue always bring big issues in relationship because he doesn't want me to pick his phone and all that. When you know the work that your partner does and his or her work involve a lot of confidentiality, I think we have to give the person that respect. You know, don't pick the phone till he said, oh, pick my phone for me, or that kind of thing. I don't think it is always wrong when somebody tells you for a good reason that don't pick my phone. You have to trust the person enough that I know that he will not go beyond. But people start cooking all sorts of ideas as soon as their partner says, don't touch my phone, or that kind of thing. Yeah, we have people who also hide behind these kind of cloak and do bad things. But when the person is doing bad things, I mean, intuition, you'll be able to tell. There are so many things that, like I said, it's not spoken, but you can tell. And when you get the lead way, you take your time and investigate.
Okay.
And when you investigate and you have a substance that this is a big issue I have to attend to, then you address it. But we shouldn't just jump into conclusions for anything or whatever. So the most important is that we should draw a line when it comes to our sex life, our money, how we spend money, how we give money. If the person gives you money as a gift, that's fine. But I don't go demanding, pay my school fees, pay my brother's school fees, take care of my family and all that.
When
you're not married,
yeah.
yes.
Even if you're married.
Even when you're married, it is not their responsibility.
Yeah. And
so
you're not entitled to it.
That's right. That's right. And look at how you will live your life in this technological age where computers and phones and all these tablets and all that working for us.
Okay.
We draw the line, a healthy line. Some of the lines can be unhealthy, but you draw a healthy line that will save both you and your partner's relationship and make it successful. And don't forget that you always have to communicate the ones that you are aware of. Try and communicate and let the person understand that with this, I will not take it.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Mrs.
too.
Marie-Rose Sackey. It's always a pleasure to have you here. We hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday.
You too, enjoy yours.
And thank you at home for joining. Again,
Thank
boundaries, you have to set them when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your sex life and your family members. You know, what extent do you want them to get involved? And sometimes you have to communicate this clearly